Hello, welcome. Today we're going to be doing a game as Japan, regular difficulty. I'm not going to put it in Iron Man mode, simply because when you're recording, the game will invent new bugs to mess with you, if you even dare record in Iron Man mode. Okay, so basic setup. We're going to start with the Navy, grab everything, merge it up. We're going to need to train it. We need that Navy experience so that we can do our doctrine. Naval production wise, we're going to finish most of what's in production. We will finish this carrier that is in production. We'll finish the cruiser that's also in production. These converted cruiser hulls are worthless, and we're already going to have enough carriers. Get rid of that. Completing the Congo class is interesting. You don't need to do it. It's kind of a waste of production, actually. I am going to end up deleting this Congo class. We're going to just assign these guys to the one fleet. Don't bother with the starting cruisers, and then we'll just finish the destroyers in production. They're cheap. These submarines, they're basically finished. We'll complete them, but they're largely worthless. That's all we're going to do for Navy for the time being. We need a little bit of naval experience before we actually can do anything of importance. We're also going to want to do a little bit of Navy research. To start with, you got the basic 3. And then we're actually going to do naval research. We're quite a bit behind. We don't have either the sonar tech, we don't have 1936 destroyer hulls, and we don't have the level 2 secondaries. I'm going to start by doing the turreted secondary battery. And I forgot to do something. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to toggle these guys so they automatically upgrade. Not these guys though. I want to manually upgrade these guys later because I want to give them a designer. Regular production wise, the tank is garbage. It's not worth anything. We'll keep producing the carrier Naval Bomber. We're not going to keep producing this interwar fighter. We're not going to do fighter research. We're going to get the 0 from our focus tree, so it's not worth anything. We're going to put one interwar bomber into production. It's got the range to give us a little bit of air support in the interior of China. And then we'll do something like that. 3 on artillery, 3 on support equipment, and then the rest we'll just put on guns. Army-wise, we're going to take these 3 tank divisions that are mostly infantry, and we're going to just convert them to the 12 widths we have at the bottom. These 2 motorized, we'll leave them be. And we're going to grab all of these guys and we're going to put them in Japan for the time being, just for supply purposes. A lot of them are currently up in Manchuria and they have no supply, but we are going to take 24 of these guys. And we're going to set them up on this 3-tile front line. We're going to grind a lot of trade experience here on our generals. Next, we're going to train up some Marines. Just the 3, that's all we need. Construction-wise, I'm not going to build infrastructure first. Most of these states are pretty close to their cap anyways. They don't have that many free slots, so we don't really have the space to pay back the investment of building an extra infrastructure level. So we'll just queue up 1 in each state for now. Oh, we are not going to cheat on the treaties. That is just going to help the AI more than it'll help us. Eventually, these treaties are going to go away anyways when World War II breaks out. By then, we can actually make use of the extra carrier space, so there's just no point in doing that. While we're here, we are going to commandeer civilian trains. That minus 5% is temporary. Commandeering civilian trains is reminding me of something. We don't start with trucks in production or civilian trains. So we'll put 1 on both of those. We are not going to bother importing that. That is not significant enough to actually matter. Focuses wise, we are going to rush down to spiritual mobilization. With the game running, I'm going to explain a separate thing you can do with Japan. I'm not going to do a guide of it because if you're good enough to do this, you don't need me to tell you how to do it, but I can give you the basic setup. And that is, you save up your political power. We're almost at 40. You justify a war goal on the Philippines with your 40 political power. This allows you to go to war with them sometime September, October, and you can use this to annex the United States by 1937. If you're going to do that, you're going to want to stop producing all of these ships and swap to a cruiser sub with some sort of this design for the maximum range. That is enough range that you can set up a naval invasion from Japan to the United States. You can come in here, you can take San Francisco and set up a defensive line with your Marines while you wait for your main army to come across. If you're going to do that, you're going to want to convert your entire starting army to either the 12 width infantry or the 12 width cav or a mixture of the 2. If you're doing that, make sure the naval invasion order is set up, ready to go and active, and you have naval supremacy in every region you need it before you launch it. Once you've gotten your beachhead, there's no reason you should lose it. The US starting army sucks. If you're going to do this, do yourself a favor. Do at least one collaboration government on the United States, or two if you have time. And then while you're waiting for the naval invasion to actually get there, you can navally invade the Philippines, you can navally invade all of these islands. Otherwise, once you've landed in the US and you've got your troops over, you're just going to want to keep going for supply hubs. The supply hubs are so far apart in most spots, once you get a supply hub, the enemy's troops are going to be completely out of supply, which will just make pushing to the next one so much easier. Take most of the US for yourself, but don't forget to puppet them, because then you'll get to annex them and you'll get their navy. And with the US Navy and your Navy, even with just the starting Navy, you literally don't have to care about naval research at all. But anyways, that is one thing you can do. We're not going to do that. We're just doing the standard Marco Polo Bridge Incident, Invasion of China. Alrighty, that's the first focus done. We're going to continue on to guide the, I'm not even going to pretend to know how to say that. Don't test the Soviets yet. We're not ready for the Soviets. Okay, so with the second focus now complete, we're going to continue on to national mobilization law. Also at this time, I'm going to start creating an agency. We're going to use this agency to build at least one collaboration government on China, if not two. One collaboration government makes it so that they capitulate when you take the city. If you don't do this collaboration government, you need to push past the city and you need to start taking all of these small victory points. And once you get to that point, you're going to run into massive supply problems. So I've reached 150 political power, so I'm going to appoint the silent workforce. We just finished basic machine tools a couple days ago. We're going to go into dispersed 1. I by default go to dispersed 1 all the time. One could argue as Japan, you're not going to be switching your production lines around too much. So it might make more sense to go for concentrated. That's up to you. I'm going to go for dispersed. We've continued on to mechanical computing and we're working on our passive sonar. We're going to go passive into 1936 destroyer hull. Anyways, don't forget to keep queuing up more civilian factories. Doing them in ones like this might be beneficial. It might not. Honestly, if you build up for 4 years as the Soviet Union, the effect is not particularly pronounced. So the Spanish Civil War just kicked off, and we are actually going to send divisions. We're going to grab 4 of our 24 wits, and we're going to send them to Nationalist Spain, along with air volunteers. We also now have a good amount of Navy experience, so at this point we're going to appoint flexible contracts. This is going to allow us to appoint the Coastal Defense Fleet Designer for only 30 political power rather than 150, and then we can come in here and we can redesign this heavy cruiser. And what we're going to do is we're going to replace this entire top row with light cruiser batteries. And we're going to take off the armor. This is going to make it as fast as possible while also stacking as much light attack as possible. The range penalty doesn't really matter. What we really care about is the minus 25% production cost. That is going to let us produce substantially more of these heavy cruisers than otherwise. I will do a naval meta guide later on if you guys want. I mean, not much has changed in No Step Back other than the addition of the ability to just add these designers wherever you want as long as you have the designer active. But this is only going to cost us 3,600, which is why we don't care about the London Naval Treaty. I'm not even going to bother Navy. We're just going to put these into production now. We're going to put 2 lines of them into production, and then we'll put the rest on convoys until we are ready to build destroyers, which we're going to build destroyers that have sonar, just in case we come up against subs. But otherwise, we're going to build very cheap destroyers. With the Spanish Civil War, we are going to send these carrier casts over, because they don't really matter. It doesn't really matter if they die. And we're just going to work on grinding one thing. There's a certain general I want to have hill fighter, which is really hard to get outside of Spain. There's not really an easy place to grind it. There's no hills up here to fall back to without falling all the way back to here. So we can't grind it there. And by the time we get into the central part of China, we're not going to want to pause here just to grind hill fighter. But we want hill fighter because we can get hill from Spain and we can get ranger from these 2 forest tiles, and that'll give us adaptable. So that's what I'm going to be doing in Spain for the time being. We're going to continue on to construction 2. I'm going to go for the research slot first, before continuing on down to spiritual mobilization. Now the general I want to grind is actually this guy. Infantry officer plus brilliant strategist makes him a very strong offensive field marshal for infantry, and we're going to build an infantry based army. So appointing him is a good idea. He starts with no traits, which is good. What we're going to do is we're going to work on getting him to level 6, and that's because he doesn't have an officer corps role. So if he's level 6, we can promote him to offensive doctrine, make him a chief of army offense guy, and that'll give us the +10 division attack. Currently, as Japan, we only start with a +5, and he is not a general, so we can't make him better. That's what we're going to start off with. We are also going to work on getting organizer. Okay, we had a couple things finished there. You can just go for anything here. Let's go for suicide pills. Just in case we get caught, we don't actually have the ability to rescue her yet, so hopefully she just bites the pill. I'm going to start on 1936 destroyer hulls, and then with this research thought, I'll go for the sonar. Okay, we have 170 political power. Missed that by a little bit. You could get an elusive gentleman if you'd like. I don't care to. I think instead we're going to go for the infantry expert. We should have already gotten this, but I forgot. Okay, let's go into National Defense State. At this point, we can start training up our army to level 3. We do have enough infantry equipment for that. Okay, we're going to continue on to Disperse 2 and Improved Machine Tools. So, we finished Destroyer Research, which means we can go on to Artillery Research, and we should probably get Radio. We can get our next operative now. Seducers are always good. Reduces the chances you get caught. And we can start our first collaboration government. With 100 political power, I think we'll go for concealment expert. Just increase our army experience gain. Over here, now that you have hill fighter, I don't care about organizer that much. We can get organizer from the Sino-Japanese War. Let's swap this field marshal to a general. They actually grind experience like they are a general when they are a field marshal. So we'll work on getting trickster and hill fighter with him as well. We might not be able to get it though. The situation in Spain has rapidly deteriorated for the... We are going to go get bold attack. I'm also going to stay on Grand Battle Plan simply for the logistics focus. Minus 5% supply consumption and fuel consumption is pretty nice. And we could also get tip of the spear if we want. Okay, we're going to get spiritual mobilization, and then we're going to go on to Marco Polo Bridge Incident. We're going to do infantry equipment now. I forgot to design the new destroyer hull. Okay, torpedoes, sonar. Fire control is actually kind of worthless for us, so we're going to leave that off. AA is largely worthless for us. We're just going to build this. Mass produce these, and they'll never be able to sink your capital ships because they're never going to be able to get through all of the screens you have. So we'll finish that one convoy, and then we'll go on to destroyer production. With this 150 political power, I'm going to get the Grand Battle Plan guy. Might be a little early to do that, but I don't think it's that big of an issue. Okay, now we're onto the Marco Polo Bridge Incident. And with the grinding in Spain done, I'm just going to put these guys on port and just ignore it. Queue up some more civs. And now we're in the final preparation for the war with China. Let's take this converted cruiser hull. We're going to place it in reserve. Why don't you guys have any... I have no clue why you guys don't have anything on you currently. So currently aircraft carriers are bugged. Carrier fighters do not actually do anything. So we're just going to put 75 naval bombers on each one of them. It'll make sense later. We haven't actually gotten to the point where we can convert these so that they have 75 deck space, but eventually they will. Make sure these guys actually have automatically split off on, and we'll put Yamamoto in charge. Actually, let's check Yamamoto's stuff. We're going to give him torpedo bomber, and then concealment expert. That's so dumb. I just noticed this. This gives air attack. Why does that give air attack? Why doesn't it give naval attack? Or whatever it's called. What is it called? Why doesn't it give naval attack? Air attack's worthless. Okay, naval bomber air attack is worthless. The air efficiency is also worthless because air mission efficiency doesn't matter in a carrier, unless it's saying we're going to get a plus 10% boost to our stats. But still, this might actually be worthless. Okay, actually, don't give him torpedo bomber. It shouldn't actually end up doing anything. As part of our further preparation for the invasion of China, I'm going to add support engineer companies and support artillery to all of our 12 widths, as well as to our cavalry. Make sure to make a copy of it first for suppression purposes before you do this. Infantry-wise, we're going to swap out the recon for artillery. We're going to separate these guys off. We have 15 of these, so we're going to separate that off as well. We're going to need another 15 of these. 15 of the 12 widths, which we will have. How much more? We're going to want another 13 of the cavalry. And if we check our deficit, we're 139 days off, which is fine, because we're 210 days away from war. We're going to put them all under this guy, I think. Take these guys and split them half and half. They should line up approximately the same, but now both of them will grind organizer if we want them to. We are going to start by assigning this guy. We want him to be level 6, but we'll end up grinding multiple generals. We're not going to assign anybody else because we're actually going to be cycling them through here. Other than the naval invasion guy. Actually, we are going to add him. We're going to give him a naval invasion here. Okay, I actually ended up doing that all wrong. Okay, yeah. No, that's how we're going to end up doing it. We're going to send cavalry around the sides, and this is going to pin their forces so that we actually take the port. We're not going to push inland from this part. We're just going to try and hold here, and then they'll throw bodies against us, and that'll grind an extra general. The naval bombers we can just disband. They will go to our carriers. The 2 different sets of fighters and the CAS we'll put in the north. And then the tactical bombers, if we put them here, we can put them in eastern China. So I've just started the Marco Polo bridge incident. I've got 200 political power, and I've been thinking quite a bit about going for the air combat training for the ace generation. Here's what we're going to do with this, actually. We're going to take this guy. We're going to find him in this list. Here, he's just barely level 4. We're going to promote him to a field marshal. Because he's acting as a general, he is still going to get general level experience gain, but this allows us to give him offensive doctrine. With offensive doctrine, we can make him an army offense specialist, and then when he gets to level 6, he'll get better at his job. That means we want to appoint this dude. He'll end up with 10% attack rather than the current 5%, and then with the remaining amount, I'm going to put it on infantry equipment research, because I'm currently doing both the 1938 techs. I'm working on anti-air. We've completed all of the 1937 techs. I'm not going to do these guys until they're only about a year ahead of time. So we're going to do those starting early 1938. I'm not going to be doing synthetic research. Why is that? Well, fuel gain from refineries is negligible, and synthetic rubber is not needed. We are going to get Indochina, and that's going to cover all of our rubber needs. Navy-wise, let's split off a couple of these ships. We don't need the light cruisers here. We don't need the carriers, actually, in this task force yet. So we'll split those guys off, and then we'll split these guys in half, so we can get naval shore bombardment in 2 spots. We'll just set them up on naval invasion support here. It's going to cost us a bunch of fuel while they move around, but it'll cost us nothing while they're sitting there. Once your naval invasions have actually launched, you want to stop this order, because even if they're just sitting there, it'll take fuel. If you turn off the order, though, with them just sitting there, it'll cost you no fuel, because they're not moving, and they're not on an order. Okay, there's the Marco Polo bridge incident. From here, we're going to do new naval estimates into Supremacy of Will. And now we're going to declare war on China, and you're going to see what I mean in the north here. If we put this down to 4 speed, they're just going to continually attack us. And this is going to grind so much experience for your generals. It's also going to grind a good amount of army experience in general. And we're going to not do war propaganda. We don't need to do war propaganda. Escalate the war in China. We could do war bonds if we'd want to. And we're just going to keep building ships. We don't need a single mill for this entire war. And you're just going to want to keep an eye on this. As they lose org, you're going to want to shuffle a couple of these guys out of it. Do not call your allies in. Your puppets are of no use to you here. They're just going to expand the front line. We're going to split these guys off into this army so that they can continue training while I launch this naval invasion. I just want a second place for them to attack us. Okay, now that it's launched, turn off this order, manually move them here and here. It'll cost fuel while they're moving, but once they get there, no fuel. Okay, these guys actually landed, but the rest of you didn't. We're going to force attack with the Marines. Hopefully they can take this a little bit faster. I should have made upgrades to these Marines. I should have at least given them support artillery. I'm also going to add artillery to these bigger divisions, make them 30 widths. We have just enough. We're going to put them on the lowest priority though. Okay, we've got 2 tiles now. If we could get this one, that'd be great. Come on. There we go. Oh. How did my cavalry not move in before they did? That makes no sense. Okay, force attack again. We need this tile. Tactical bombers are doing a little bit of work. Okay, they're actually not going to let us get that tile, in which case we're going to pull out. In the north, let's check. They've stopped attacking us. That's not good. I wonder if in past attempts I didn't actually put the support artillery on yet. That might actually be it. Let's take the support artillery off. Actually, let's take the support engineer companies off. It'll remove our entrenchment. Well, it'll remove a good chunk of our entrenchment at least. Okay, we'll also remove the support artillery. Okay. Yeah, the AI got scared because of the support artillery. It didn't think it could actually win. Sometimes you get both tiles. Sometimes the communists show up and stack 5 infantry on it. AI is kind of random like that. Okay, let's take 2 out of the north here and move them into the center. They introduced a new bug. It's not a bug, it was an intentional design choice by them to stop you from canceling orders from tiles you're already moving into. But now, if you're already moving into a tile and you try to retreat into that tile, you can't. Okay, new naval invasion. Naval invasion from here to beside the port. And another 3 of you do the exact same thing. We're just going to pin them in place. And then we're going to move the fleet up. Okay, we can escalate the war in China again. We also have the spy network to do collaboration government, so let's do a second one. And 5-speed it. I do not think railway guns are worthwhile. I found in games where I went for railway guns, I ended up running out of infantry equipment. Okay, let's start working on advanced machine tools. Okay, we can escalate the war in China again. And we can send our naval invasions. They seem pretty well set up for them. Oh, I did not assign anyone to this division, to this order. And we don't have anyone standing there, actually. That's kind of bad. Well, they'll show up eventually, I guess. Okay. So as long as we can get out from the port, then we can reorg and we'll be fine. And because we've succeeded in doing that, let's take the entire army of cavalry at least and move them in. Are you level 6 yet? Not quite. Okay, now they're attacking us. Okay, you're now level 6. You have 9 attack, which is huge. You'll also now give us 10% division attack. So let's swap you out. Next guy we want to grind is this guy. He's going to be the field marshal, all of your island garrisons. You can give him unyielding defender as well as defensive doctrine, and he's just unbreakable. So he will quickly grind a couple of levels. I think we'll get Prince of Terror now. Oh, let's check that other guy actually. Did you get Ranger? You did not. You were actually quite close to Ranger. Okay, swap. Hold on. You go back. Getting adaptable on you is actually quite important. Okay. If they're not going to want to attack us, we're going to pull a couple divisions off the front line. Now they'll want to attack us. We want Ranger on him. Ranger's so important. I was really hoping they'd attack us here, rather than just these couple of probing attacks every once in a while. Okay, they are. But I was hoping they'd go for something a little bit more full frontal. You know what, let's put the Navy away. Maybe that's why. They don't like the shore bombardment penalty. How are you doing on Ranger? 98. Okay, again, let's move these guys off, break their entrenchment. Okay, we don't actually want all of them to leave. Okay. There we go. Now that you have Ranger, we can give you Adaptable. And Logistics Wizard. And Aggressive Assaulter. You are now a full-fledged Field Marshal. Ooh, he also has 8 attack. That's the power of bold attack, by the way. Okay, now we can swap off you to this dude. Okay, that's the second collaboration government done. Only a 30%, but that's fine. It's good enough. Let's work on our interrogation tactics. Okay, you've got all of your traits. Let's swap you out for this dude. Let's escalate the war in China again. I probably missed doing that by a couple of days. Or a couple of months, I don't know. I forget to do it a lot, actually. Supremacy of Will. Okay, so we added infantry here, and now they're willing to do stuff. Okay. That makes absolutely 0 sense, but alrighty. The AI constantly starting and stopping these attacks is actually really good for us. It helps us grind faster. Okay, now we have Supremacy of Will. We're going to stop off and get cruiser modernization, but then we're going to go for the 0. Escalate war in China again. Is that gone now? It is gone now. Yes, when you bypass secure China, that's when it's gone. Marco Polo Bridge incident is gone. We can now go. We can do this if we want. Let's check. Ooh. We're not going to, though. That'll make them be able to do the giant wakes. We really don't want them to be able to do the giant wakes. So we will click this button when they're over 30%. Punch north first with these guys. Try and circle that northern army, and then we'll just push south. We're going to unassign you guys, and we're going to do a naval invasion of Shanghai. And then there we'll push the 24 divisions we have here. Oh yeah, you guys in the north. Switch to the better division template now. Let's try and take Beijing now. Okay, we're going to queue up infrastructure in these 2 states, and then we're going to build civs in them as well. Oh, he's level 6 and he has 10 attack. It's actually so good. You can have a logistics wizard and organizer. So now we have 2 offensive field marshals to do whatever we please with. Okay, we're going to click go in both their orders. And continually check the US. What's your war support? Still only 27, that's good, that's good. You can go when you're ready. We're going to send part of the Navy there, and we'll send part of the Navy over here. We're going to set this guy to aggressive. He's not being aggressive enough. He can literally just right-click anywhere he wants, but he's not. And then we're going to bring this entire army right here, and we're going to use that to push out. Okay, with cruiser modernization, we are now going to continue down for the 0. I think we'll do the carrier side first. How much do we have stockpiled? 20k? That's enough to swap. Can you come and get this, actually? Same with you guys. That's our supply hub, and you're just ignoring it. $614, huh? Let's drop you guys down to 50 then. That'll get us under 600, so we can move them up here. That's unfortunate. That might give them the war support they need to go over 30. Yes. Okay, so now we can click each go, and then we should also spend this 150 political power. Let's do it on electronics research because we've already done so much industry research. There's no penalty for being at -80. Let's start building up our radar. By letting the AI grind itself against you like that, you can just push with ease. You will run into a little bit of problem in some of these spots, which might actually warrant taking your Marines, unassigning them, and bringing them to the spot that you're running into problems. And also, we have this lovely field marshal with logistics wizards, which means we can give extra supply. So with these guys here, we're going to give them extra supplies, and then we're going to force attack across this river. And we're going to support attack from the right, and that should take the city. Was not actually good enough. This is part of the reason why some people will suggest that you build transport planes. I haven't. Usually it's not that big of a deal. Okay, we got it. We instantly have supply because we control most of the river. You don't actually have to control the entire river down to the supply hub and the supply hub, because that's going to fix a big part of our problem in the south here. Act as supply hubs is very important. Okay, we've gotten that supply hub. Okay, we got both. We now need to make a concentrated push towards this supply hub. At this point, we're going to redraw our front line. In the north, we're going to take an army of these guys, and we're just going to draw a fallback line. And then the rest of this front line, we're going to pull down to here, because we don't care about anything north of there. We're going to stop you guys, just temporarily. I don't even know if we're going to have to get all the way back to here, considering that we've done 2. We might not. That one victory point might be enough to capitulate them. If not, we're going to bring these Marines up here. Oh, there we go. That's the power of 2 collaboration governments. Okay, we're going to pass a couple times. You're going to want to invite Manchukuo into this if you're going to actually puppet things, because you might as well just give it to Manchukuo. But I'm not going to. I'm just going to take all of this for myself because I've done 2 collaboration governments. And that's China capitulated April 1939. You can do it faster, but if you do it faster, you're not going to have a bunch of generals that are level 6 with a whole bunch of stats. And he actually only got to level 5, but that's fine. We did not actually get our Marines general really any training, but we also have 2 level 6 field marshals with 9 and 10 attack. And then even all the way in the interior, because it's a core of the China we made a collaboration government on, we get the 75%. So we can come down here and get 1, 2. I'm going to go for the supply consumption. That's not bad. We'll get more just from our high command. We're not going to do that yet. Okay, continue on to the 0. We're barely going to get it ahead of time. Now own all of China. We have 54 factories. We're going to put a couple on naval bombers, a couple on tactical bombers, and then we're going to start building up our efficiency on carrier fighters. And we also now have 99 civilian factories. But I want more. I'm greedy like that. So that's just a simple little invasion of China guide. Naval war. Likely I'll include the naval war as part of the naval meta guide actually, because this video is long enough as it is. The basic idea from here on out is you demand Indochina, you invade the Philippines, into this big island here, British Malaya, Dutch East Indies, Australia, and New Zealand. Meanwhile, you can also be taking all of the little islands here, and if you've won the naval war, you'll have Hawaii. Air doctrine wise, it's a little interesting. Because you have the best fighters in the game, there's an argument to be made you should go down the center. You don't need the additional agility, multi-altitude fighting here, or fighter veteran initiative here. Now, of course, that's not true in multiplayer. In multiplayer, you're going to want to go for either the right or the left. Given that we are building tactical bombers, the right does help tactical bombers better, and the right gives you more aces, which does mean that your fighters will be even more effective if you go to the right side. Contrary to popular belief, the right side is actually the best for getting air superiority. The middle is the best once you have air superiority and you're trying to cast them to death. The left is the kind of middle point between helping yourself get air superiority and doing something with it once you have it. Because you do get the plus 30% air superiority from the left, you only get 15 from the right. The center, you get 30, and also you get 40% ground support. You only get 10% from the left and the right. Honestly, you can just do the right side and the left side of this and call it a day. Oh, I never actually went over the thing I was going to do with the Navy. Let's abandon the naval treaties, just so I can show you what I was going to do with the Navy. What you come in here and do, you come back in here and you swap to the Pacific Fleet Designer. With the Pacific Fleet Designer selected, you can now make one adjustment to this and you'll increase the deck size by 15. We'll make one adjustment. We'll just go to secondaries too. You can take these 2 guys and you can upgrade them to this ship, and then you can take this guy, and this is going to be a little expensive because the deck size is going to be going up by 35, but the other one is going to be basically free. 600? That's basically nothing. 33 days. And this is why I set them to 75 each earlier on. Another thing that's interesting to note is when it comes to converting heavy cruisers. Some people might want to convert all of their starting heavy cruisers. And we split off our heavy cruisers. We have this 1936 hull, and then we have these other hulls. Let's take all of the Myoko class. Let's say we want to upgrade these. They don't have very much light attack, and light attack is what you want on your heavy cruisers. And I'm going to give myself a little bit of political power just so I can show this. I'm not going to continue the save anyways. So right now we have the Pacific Fleet Designer. So if we just come up here and we give you light battery 2s, and you should wait until you have light battery 3s to do this, but we'll show it with light battery 2s. And you know, we want anti-air, I guess. And if we have a better fire control, if I'd done fire control, you'd want to use the better fire control. And we'll leave on the armor, because removing the armor is really expensive. This is the Myoko 2, and that's going to cost us 2,000 to refit. Instead, if we swap to the Coastal Defense Designer, we go back in here, we find the Myoko, and I might be horribly mispronouncing that. And with the Coastal Defense Designer, we make the exact same design. 1706. And I'm just going to check to make sure I actually did make them the same design. I did not make them the same design. 2100, 1700. So when we go back here and we find all of our Myoko class, and we go to refit, 1365 if we use the Coastal Defense Designer, and 1734 if we use the Pacific Fleet Designer. Just a little quirk you can do to convert your ships more quickly. So if we come in here, and now we swap to Naval Refit Yards, so that says August 27th. It's now August 8th, so you can take even more time off that. I hope you found this useful. If you really want me to do the second part where I actually torture myself and naval invade everything. I can do that. I don't really want to, but I guess I could. But I think most people are going to struggle with just the invasion of China part, not the rest of it. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you guys later.